Well, right, let's move on. OTBAM is live this morning with Screwfix.ie, championing the trade with a choice of over 20,000 quality trade products. Check out Screwfix.ie for all of your needs. Now, Jessie Barr is with us. Jessie, good morning to you. How you doing?
Morning, how are you?
Yeah, pretty good. So, what are your nerves like on a day when a massive European final is happening and your brother's taking part in it?
You know what? I'm not too bad now. My mum's here in the background in the apartment and she's like a hen on eggs going around. When I really get nervous is when I start seeing the hurdles being laid out in the track and I see them start to be laid out. That's when it really hits me, okay, he's about to run. Up until then, I'm pretty chilled. But even now that you're talking about it, it's made me a bit nervous. Okay,
sorry about that. And are you allowed to talk to Tom in the 24 hours in the build-up to it? Or is he like, look, don't ask me, I don't want to talk to you? Or is it like you know exactly, let's talk about the soap opera or the football or something completely opposite?
Yeah, no, Thomas is very chilled. I mean, they had a day off yesterday and we were doing a bit of a tour around Berlin. So we actually ended up near the hotel. So we went to visit him for about an hour. And just kept it very, how are you feeling? How are you feeling about the race? And then just chatted about just general stuff. He wants to hear what we're doing. He would love to be out being a tourist. He gets very jealous, I think, when he hears. But no, he's in good form and he likes to keep things kind of normal and relaxed. He's not someone who likes to be, in this kind of bubble. He wants to kind of keep things normal. So, yeah. We won't see him today now. We might send him a text, but that'll be about it.
Yeah, fair enough. Berlin is a great city to do some touring around in and not a bad place to have the crack.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great for them to be over there as well, supporting him, because obviously this time last year it was just devastating for Thomas Barr in London, and like speaking to him out in Abbottstown a couple of weeks ago, talking about that, and everybody had travelled over. I think we got Jessie back in the line there. Jessie, it's we're like, as I said there, I was speaking to him a couple of weeks ago, and like, I hate to bring this up, we may as well just get it over with now, but that illness in London last year, when it was just a year out from Rio, he's obviously still such a high profile name, but you felt that 12 months out the momentum was still going with Thomas at that point, and he comes down with that virus that was going around the entire village, it seemed, in London, and all the Barr family had seemed to travel over to see him perform.
We did. We all travelled, including our younger sister and my granny. So it really was a family affair. And that's the thing about Thomas. That's his kind of character. The first thing he said when he told us was, I'm so sorry that I can't run. So instead of saying, I'm really, it wasn't about him. He said he felt really guilty that we'd all travelled to see him and he was sick. And we said, don't mind us. We feel bad for you. And it was funny. It was actually the 1 year anniversary of him being sick yesterday. Up on my Facebook memory, and we kind of all were able to remember where we were in the news. It was like one of those, big moments for us. I had just landed in London when I got the text. Mum was in nursing him with a wet cloth all day, with a damp cloth on his forehead. So, he's out for redemption tomorrow for last year, or not tomorrow, today, obviously. But yeah, I think pressure is on, and I think he's very much aware there's a lot of Irish eyes on him today, especially after London not going so well.
Absolutely. It's a very interesting case when you look at his season so far, because he's been ratcheting it up as the weeks have gone by, and his times are getting quicker, but at the same time, I suppose his season best at the moment won't be enough to get him on the podium tonight. But there is this aura around Thomas that he could pull out a performance that will get him on that podium. Like, what is it about him that he's able to do that, to pull out that performance when the pressure is really on? He must love that energy, and he must love a full Olympic stadium, as it will be tonight, you suspect.
Yeah, he's a championship performer. I mean, it's Derval O'Rourke who's always the person who stands out as being that person. Thomas has kind of filled that role. He really does pull out his best on the day. And the one thing he did say about his semi-final is the whole thing with having a bye straight into semi-final, him not having to run a heat, that actually set him back. He likes to warm up into the races, get the heat out of the way, get to know the track before he has the kind of real high pressure, because the semi-final is the most high pressure race. So I think he did say his best performance probably will come tonight, because he had his kind of stressful race yesterday or on Tuesday. But he's a championship performer, and I've no doubt that he'll rise to the occasion tonight. And he's very relaxed. He didn't care what lane he got. He just is happy to be in the final. Anything can happen once you're in it.
Yeah, can you explain to us what the difference of being in lane 8 actually means? I mean, obviously you just said he doesn't care about it, but as somebody who understands exactly how the dynamics of this works, is it just that you're always tempted to look around and see where everybody is?
Yeah, so I suppose the benefit, I would always have preferred lane 8 to lane 1. And Thomas kind of said he prefers the inside lane, but the benefit of lane 8 now is that he won't be able to see what anyone else is doing. He has to run his own race. He can't run off what the guy outside him is doing or what the guy 2 lanes outside him. So he could very much just kind of run blinkered, focus on his own race plan, which I think is probably not going to be a bad thing. I think it might be a blessing in disguise getting that. If you're in lane 1, you're watching someone like Warholm from Norway who goes out like a train in that first 100. You're watching how far ahead he is when he's jumping that hurdle. Even if you don't purposely watch him, he's in your periphery. So I think for Thomas to be in lane 8 and just not get distracted, just focus on what exactly he has to execute in his race plan. And the benefit as well is that it's wider bends. He's a taller guy. He takes quite big strides. So to be in that inside, that tighter inside bend, it is a little bit more difficult for a taller person. So he said he doesn't really mind where he is, but I think lane 8 could benefit him.
Yeah, he says that he prefers, just reading a couple of quotes this morning, that he'd actually prefer lane 8 to lane 1. Like, obviously everybody wants it to kind of be in a positive mindset going into that. And as you say, it is around going around the bends is where this lane selection becomes key, or where this lane draw becomes key. And I guess for Tom as well, he's such a strong finisher that maybe when you're going around the bend and you get a bit more track before the hurdle, I wonder, does that finishing prowess almost feel like every bend is like a finishing element for him, that he can get those extra couple of strides on the track without having to leap? It might benefit him in that regard. I'm not sure what you think, Jessie.
Yeah, no, I think, well, now we were chatting about it yesterday, and said the one thing he doesn't like about lane 8 is the layout of the hurdle. He prefers to have more hurdles off the bend than on the bend. So just the way the hurdles would be laid out, the 5th hurdle in lane 8 is actually right on the bend, whereas if he was in lane 1, it would be still on the straight.
Right.
But to be honest, once you're in the race, you don't even really notice that. So I think for him, just being able to run his own race, because there will be a lot of distraction from those middle lanes with the guys, him going in as the second slowest time on the board, I think hopefully the pressure might be reduced a little bit. But you know what? He is always like this. That final, I think you could have placed him in any lane. He's going to run his best race anyway, and I think that's the way he's going to attack it.
Jessie, what's your own situation at the moment? I read an interview that you did back at the start of the year where you were talking about maybe Tokyo might still be an option for you, but that you'd kind of know by the summer just exactly where your situation was. We're kind of at near the end of the summer now. What is your own personal situation?
I took a very conscious decision before Christmas to take a full step back from training altogether. So I've done enough to keep fit, bits and pieces, but I haven't gone near the track, I'd say, since maybe November. The UL track has been relayed, so it'll actually be there as of the end of this month. But I kind of made the decision, if I take a step back and I evaluate, do I miss training? Do I miss competing? Do I want to go back? Or am I happy that I've made the decision that, my better days are behind me? And I kind of thought, with the new UL track starting, going to be there in September, I'm going to go back in September and train with the group again and just see if there's anything left in my legs. I'm constantly reading about all these athletes. I was only reading it out last night. The German who won the decathlon last night, he came back after 5 years of injury, from between 2012 or 2013 to this year. And I was kind of thinking, you know what, it can be done. Okay, my best days maybe behind me, but I don't want to look back and think, could I have had another season in me? Could I have gone to another championship? Could I wear another Irish vest? So I'm going to go back in September and give it a go. But I'm happy with the decision I made not to compete this year, because it was a choice I made rather than being forced out through injury, which every other year has happened.
To what extent does September this year feel like the start of the Tokyo campaign? I'm sure it's the same for every athlete.
For me, not at all.
Okay.
Tokyo is a distant thing on the horizon. I may not even run anywhere near my best times, never mind a qualifying time for Tokyo. I'm just going back to run because I actually just missed the training, and I missed training for a goal. If Tokyo happens, it'll be a huge bonus, obviously, because I didn't get to run the individual in London. But it's very much see where I'm at. I have no plans of qualifying for anything. I'm just going to do the training and see how it goes. I may do 3 months of training and realise I'm very...
Or maybe you'll love it again, and that's the benefit of a break.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
You're doing a PhD in psychology as well, is that right?
I am, yeah.
That must be a bit tricky when you're like, thinking, oh, am I doing all this right on myself? Because obviously it's hard not to apply the stuff that you're reading about and think, how does this actually affect my own career here? Physician, heal thyself, not always the easiest thing to do. It
isn't, and I've actually been working for the last year at the Institute of Sport as a trainee sports psychologist. So I look back, I never worked as a psychologist at all, any stage in my career. And I'm looking back now thinking there's so many times I would have benefited. And I always said, no, I don't ever want to see one because I'm studying it and I know what they're going to tell me. Now I see it really would benefit and a different voice. But I'm really learning to apply what I say now, practice what I preach, what I'm saying to these athletes. I'm going to be attempting to go back to training in a very different mindset. That mindset of I'm going here because I've chosen to, I'm going to the goal is very personal to me. It's not chasing time, it's not chasing qualification. So I think taking that break away and applying what I've been actually practicing has really kind of put me in a much better mindset than maybe it was even this time last year.
Which athletes have you been working with in the Institute of Sport?
So I'm working with the swim team, who are actually obviously competing in Glasgow at the moment. So it's a shame that these two clash. Been working with them. I've been working with the development sailing squad as well, and I've been doing a bit of private work outside as well. But it's been great. It's been a great experience to be working with high performance teams like that.
Right, okay, because it's very interesting, like mentioning the swim team there, even just looking at Mona McSharry's post-swim interview after the 50 metres yesterday, there was so many different nuggets. I'm not sure if you saw it yourself, so many different nuggets that I presume a psychologist can tap into. And like one of the first things she said that she wants to focus more on herself next year. She perhaps focused a little bit too much on the 100 metres breaststroke this year. It was a very clear kind of pointing out of some, not errors in her season this year, but things that she would like to tweak going into next season.
Yeah, and that's really great to see. Like all the swim team, they've obviously got a whole new coaching setup and a whole new very, very high performance setup that they've got. So they've welcomed me with open arms and really encouraged the swimmers to come to chat to me. And I think some of them are really starting seeing the benefit. To hear Mona saying things, because obviously Mona's based in Sligo and not in Dublin, so I don't really see her. But it's great to see that these are the kind of things they're saying. For such a young girl to be so clear in what she wants and what she recognises she needs is great. She's quite mature for her age, I suppose. And I think a lot of swimmers are being exposed to that environment from such a young age.
Yeah, she also said she wanted to jump straight back into it for next year. And we did a piece out with Arthur Lanigan O'Keefe out in the Institute of Sport last week, actually, and he was saying that sometimes you get that end of season buzz because quite often it's the big event at the end of the season, whereas you have to have a little bit of control, or somebody has to control you a little bit and say, listen, take your time off. You're only going to get injured if you go straight into it like you're mid-season at the start of your season. How big a problem is that for athletes psychologically?
Yeah, I think you do. You come home if you've competed well at your major championships, which is usually your end of season. I mean, Thomas did it, I think, after Rio, and it just didn't work. You're on that high at the time, and you're like, oh, I'm already going to look at what races I can do at home. I'm going to continue this good form. But, you often tend to go out and celebrate and enjoy the experience. There'll be an after party here at the championships for the athletes. To come back from that adrenaline buzz and kind of come home and just run some races that aren't really for anything is very, very difficult. So I would say if the plan was to finish at the championship, stick to that. And I think some people just kind of get a bit carried away and look for races maybe just to continue that form. You rarely hear people running as fast after the championships as they did at the championships.
Just wanted to ask you a quick question. Mark English is going this morning in the 800 metres. He's definitely somebody who, over the last couple of years, we had very high hopes for, and injuries have kind of prevented him from reaching the heights that we think he's capable of. What's his form like at the moment? Should we have high expectations today from him?
You know what? Mark is such an enigma at the best of times, and he hasn't a lot of running under his belts this year at all. His nationals, he won the nationals in a 150 something. Before that, he had one race, a 150 something from America. He ran in Morton Games, didn't finish the race with I think a calf strain or something. So it's going to be tough unless he really, because there's a lot of very fast fighters at 100 today. Obviously, him being in the heat, it would give him better chance. I'm not sure. I don't think there's a bye though for the 800s like there is in the sprints. So he is going to have to pull out a much faster time than he's been running. Like I said, you just don't know what Mark is doing. He could come out and run a 146 and surprise us all. I think it might be tougher for him today than it has been in previous championships. I just don't feel like he's had the preparation he probably needs for major championships.
Yeah, the other story, of course, today is Leon Reid. He's running in the evening session as well, alongside Tom Barr. He's also in lane 8 in his 200-metre final this evening. Lane 8, hopefully, is good luck for the Irish later on. Reid seems to be loving it. He said that the green singlet feels like a super suit. He's put up good times. Seems like this 84-year wait for an Irish sprinter on the podium could have one hell of a chance of ending.
Yeah, I really do believe that there's going to be a medal come to Ireland tonight from one of the events. Yeah, Leon is someone who's divided opinion a lot, and I've been very aware of the kind of chat around him on Twitter. Some of it's very, very negative, some more positive. I would know Leon from when I trained in Bath for 2 years. I was doing my masters, and he was a cocky little fella when he was an 18-year-old, and he hasn't really grown out of it. I think he hasn't enamored himself to the Irish public because we're not used to that. We're not used to that. Someone coming out and saying, yeah, I want to win, that the modesty that he doesn't have compared to Irish people. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think, why not? If you're good enough, why not kind of be confident? But I think people are going, I don't really know how to feel about someone saying they want to go out and win. Usually we don't have that. So I think people are very mixed towards him. And I think that's just his character. That's just the way he is. I was reading out his interview last night. He's had a very, very tough upbringing. So I think, fair play to him to be getting to the stage of that. He's super talented. And I think at the end of the day, he's on our Irish team. He's wanted to run for Ireland. Probably going to bring in medals that we weren't ever going to have twice. So we should be welcoming him regardless of how he got on the team.
Jessie, great stuff. Enjoy tonight and best of luck. Thanks a million.
Thank you very much.